Thank you, Admiral. We're going to have 5-minute questions around. I'm going to begin, and I'm going to ask you a question that is going to be rather lengthy, and then 2 short questions that I'll ask you to respond for the record, because they would require lengthy responses, okay? All right, I mentioned the USS Gerald R. Ford in my opening statement. The ship was accepted by the Navy, incomplete, nearly 2 years late, in 2017, $2.5 billion over budget, and 9 of 11 weapons elevators still don't work, with costs continuing to grow. The Ford is a numerical replacement for the USS Enterprise, which decommissioned in 2012. Since then, we've had only 10 operational aircraft carriers, despite the CNO requirement for 12. And this mismatch continues to place a heavy burden on the fleet to do more with less. The Ford was awarded to a sole source contractor on a contract plus contract with 4 new immature technologies that had next to no testing and had never been integrated on a ship. A new radar, catapult, arresting gear, and the weapons elevators, which I mentioned in our opening statement. The Navy entered into this contract in 2008, which combined with other contracts have ballooned the cost of the ship more than $13 billion without understanding the technical risks, the costs, or the schedules. And this ought to be criminal. I first became exposed to this when I was down there on site. Yeah, it's a great ship. We got to do it. We've got to keep up with, as we mentioned, what other countries such as that are creating a problem and becoming very competitive. So we have to do it, but we've got to do a better job. So I sensed at that time, that was a sole source down there, that there was a level of arrogance that didn't really make any difference, that the elevators don't work. You know, if you're carrying ordnance in elevators and they don't work, that's not much good in the field. So since that time, and the Secretary of the Navy told the President, quote, elevators will be ready to go when she pulls out, or you can fire me. Remember that? Well, they still don't work. At that time, the Ford was supposed to pull out from its maintenance period this month. The departure has since been delayed to October. Even with this delay, only 2 of the 11 elevators will be ready in October. 9 elevators will not be ready and likely will not be complete until 2020 or later. The Secretary's promise to the President 8 months ago indicates either poor knowledge of the facts or poor judgment. And this is the latest example of Navy leaders not being straightforward when it comes to the program. So that's quite a charge, isn't it? You know, but when you see this happening and you see that seemingly there's nothing we can do about it, and this is going to be dumped in your lap, and I'd like to have your thoughts on my opening comments about that particular Ford class. What are your thoughts?
Mr. Chairman,
did we do a good job?
Sir, so I share your concern, and I agree with your assessment, including the fact that we will likely only have 2, perhaps 4 elevators operational by the time Ford leaves her availability in the fall. It's still unacceptable. We need all 11 elevators working in order to give us the kind of redundancy and combat readiness that the American taxpayer is invested in that ship.
Yeah, of course, you know, it's more than just the elevators.
Yes,
the
sir,
other deficiencies that I mentioned.
Sir, we've had 23 new technologies introduced to that ship, as you know. Of those, 4 were immature when we commissioned Ford in 2017. We have seen progress in the launching systems, the arresting gear, and also with the dual band radar. And so the reliability of those systems is trending in the right direction and actually where we want it to be based on the last at-sea testing. It's the elevators, I think, that is a remaining big hurdle to get over to get that ship at sea and finally deployed.
Okay, on that one, when you are confirmed, I believe you will be, would you agree that it'd be wise for you to report to us on a monthly basis as to the progress that's being made?
Yes, sir, I commit to that in complete transparency, as well as taking what we learned from the Ford and ensuring that we don't commit those same mistakes again in the Columbia class and other ships that we need to field in the next few years.
Yeah. All right, appreciate that. Now, two for the record. One is, we mentioned in the opening statement, the Navy seems to be out of balance, undermined, debilitated maintenance delays and unfunded work and major acquisition delays. I would like to have, for the record, just respond as to your view of the overall state of the Navy, and is it balanced? You know, we're positioning ourselves to a 355 ship Navy, and where we are and some of the details on that, which many of will come out in the course of this hearing. And the other the second question for the record would be, by 2023, the fleet is projected to grow to 314 ships with several new lead ships plans. This addresses the lead ship performance problems that we've been under. And I'd like to have you kind of give an answer for the record on your view of the recent lead ship performances and what you're going to do differently to ensure adequate technical foundation is in place prior to the procedure. So if you would do that for the record, I would appreciate it very much. Senator Shaheen.